Good morning to all of you. As you know that we have just here to attend a training related to blending learning. This is the resource person Ravi Shriwastaw, and thank STNC sir to give me the opportunity as a master trainer of our school, and the principal Birendra Kumar Mehta. So today's session will start after 1 minute, and I think you all are not getting any kinds of technical problems. The internet facility is good, and I want to introduce respected COE official from the Patna Regional Center, and he will be also with us in this meeting. So I think we will enjoy this session, and this session will be very informative. I think I am audible, and you all are able to listen me very carefully and smoothly. Okay, now we'll start. As you know, we have just gathered here for CBSE in-house training, subject technology for blended learning. So in today's session, we will just discuss that what is blended learning. So by the end of this session, we will just enumerate various learning resources and the tools both offline and online to be used in the process of teaching and learning, and have access to and use the online and offline resources optimally and judiciously for the blended learning. You know, this blended learning is also known as the hybrid learning. In today's era, the structure of learning is changing by pace. So we will discuss about it. Technology for the blended learning. You know, the blending the ICT tools for the remote learning, as the discussed we have previously, and we have discussed many more about it. So blended learning is about the finding the improved way of supporting learning and learners in achieving the learning objective and providing them with the best possible learning and teaching experiences. It is also very supportive to support teachers in the professions with the multiple tools and approaches to instructions, which can be highly effective for the learners with the different learning capabilities and style, thus creating an environment conducive to the learning for the children with the varied capabilities and interests. So I want to introduce the agendas in this session. What is technology for blended learning or the hybrid learning? So I want to just introduce that blended learning is an educational approach under which a student learns at any time, at least in the part at a mortar and brick facility, and through online delivery with the student control over time. Place, path, or pace, in simple words, It is a combination of both online and offline mode of teaching and learning. It includes the best practices of both the modes of the teaching and learning due to advancement in technology, and more importantly, due to the present scenario, blended learning has become the need of the hour. Blended learning involves teaching practices that integrate online with the face-to-face activities, content that can be taught both at the classroom and from a distance. Combining technology with the traditional teaching so that there is a harmonious effect on the teaching and learning practices. Blending learning model lays down flexible learning paths where the learners uses technology for the finding information, understanding information, using information in the teaching, learning processes, which is self-paced, and role of the teacher changes from the guru to learning creator. So what is available resources for the blended learning? It means technology for the blended learning. So what are the resources? Blended learning involves instructional practices that integrate online with the face-to-face activities, content that is transacted both in the classroom face-to-face and from the distance, combining instructional technology with the actual job task in order to create a harmonious effect of the learning and working. Combining technology with the traditional teaching, it is also referred to as the reserve teaching, flip teaching, backwards classroom, or reserve instructions. It helps also the students to learn at their own place and collaborate with the peers. So challenges of the teaching the strengths in a hybrid model. A new teaching model can essentially be based on the three core principles: human and plus tech approach. It means we have just joined the human tech. Without the human, tech can't be worked. So human plus tech approach, it means the video and class-based live interaction. Self-paced, aptitude-oriented structure. Students take control of their own learning and the pace of that learning. Mastery-based learning, it is to access more complex content, a student must first master foundational skill. Remember that the objective of the learning don't change, only the method change. Leverage specific technologies for the specific tasks to meet specific objectives. So blending learning models in a country like ours, these models can be used to deliver the blending learning modules. Relational modules. Under this model of blending learning, students shift between the two platforms on a fixed time schedule, which includes either working online or spending time with the teacher on a face-to-face mode. This method is more used in the elementary schools. Under this model, students become more active learners and often challenge themselves to work harder and learn topics that had not yet been introduced in their classroom. There are 4 varieties of this model. First of all, station rotation, lab rotation, individual rotation, and flipped classroom. And just before some days, we have just attend a training about the 5 days training, in which we have just learned about what is actual meaning of the flipped classroom. Also, we will learn in this session, in this online in-house training session, what the flipped classroom and what are its advantages. So we will be here. So I think, are you all able to listen me? Am I audible? Am I audible? Please tell me, anybody, am I audible? Are you all able to listen me? Unmute yourself and please tell me, are you all able to listen me? Are you all able to listen me?
Yes, sir.
You are
Okay.
audible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we will go ahead now again. So the next, integrating strands of English and integrating HSS into ELA instructions. What work makes synchronization and acquisition in the person? Assessing the 4 strands and strategies for the success and instructional resources example. So the next, what is blended learning? We have just discussed that a formal education program in which a student learn at least in the part through online delivery of the contents and instructions with the some elements of the student control over time, place, path, or a pace, and at least in the part of the supervised brick and mortar location away from the home. As we know, blended learning includes the virtual learning platform, inquiry projects learning, tech integration, focus on the mastery, peer-to-peer coaching, directly instructions, game-based learning. As we know, we have also on this platform due to the technology. So that's why we have just keeping this session very smoothly by just staying at the proper place. So now we will discuss that more about the technology for the blended learning. So before it, I want to just say you that what more about the blended learning self-blend model. We are just discussing about the models. So self-blend models. Under this model of the blending learning, the learners learn by the attending traditional schools, but have the option to learn through the online mode too. This model is the applicable for the students who are the highly self-motivated and want to learn beyond the traditional courses. Curriculum offered through the brick of the mortar approach. So technology for the blended learning about the finding improved ways of the supporting learners in achieving the learning objective and providing them with the best possible learning and teaching experiences. It also supports the teachers in the profession with the multiple tools and approaches to instructions, which can be the highly effective for the learners with the different learning capabilities and the styles. Thus, the creating environment conducting to learning for the children with the varied capabilities and interest. So for this online driver model we will use, under this model of the blending learning, the entire teaching learning takes place through the online platform. Teachers are available to assist the learners, but that too online. This model gives total freedom and flexibility to the learners to learn as per the voice of the time and schedule. This model relies mainly on the technology as the primary means of the delivering materials and platform like the Google Classroom, online form, PPTs, digital libraries, etc. can be used effectively in this model of the blending learning. We are just in this age, we are in the pandemic, so we have just discovered many of the ways to learn, to teach, many more. Tools and the methodologies for the blending learning we will use. So blending learning involves like this, the instructional practices that the integrate online face-to-face activities content, that is the transacted both in the classroom face-to-face and from the distance, combining instructional technology with the actual job task in order to create a harmonious effect of the learning working. And combining technology with the traditional teaching, it is also referred to as the reserve teaching, flip teaching, backward classroom, or reverse instructions. It helps us to learn at their own place and collaborate with the peers. So it is also known as the hybrid learning model, face-to-face, personalized, and what more? Many kinds of. What more? Blended learning, that the remote learning. We also know that today's we are just sitting at our home and some places, and we are just gathered here on one way platform to learn something about. So remote learning tools and flexibility to schedule. It means whenever we want, at night, at midnight, at morning, in the evening, afternoon, anywhere, at any place. And also in the pandemic, social distancing is very necessary. That's why we are just on a social distance. So the next one, the tool platform. We have just discussed that we are just uh, having these facilities from the primary means of the delivery materials, like the platform like the Google Classroom, online form, PPTs, and digital libraries, etc. So tools methodologies for the blended learning are the context and theme of the resources should be is appropriate. The library, artistic, or the educational merit of the materials need to be the highly beneficial for the learners. The teaching learning resources include textbook, novels, films, plays, radio programs, multimedia, lectures, speeches, performances. Digital learning resources include the video, audio, text, animation, and images also. As the concept lays down, the basic tools needed to implement the blending learning is a smartphone or a laptop with the internet facility and enough of online content. And we can say that the tools perform like tools or the platform which are needed for the blended learning are the Google Classroom, Padlets, Jamboard, online forms, PPTs, online learning based games like the I think you all know very well, just like MS Teams,
कि
Microsoft.
कौन है मैनेजमेंट का विद्या
Excuse me. Is there any problem? Is there any problem in this? Am I audible? Are you all able to listen me? Okay, now we will go ahead for the session. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. All of you, just mute yourself because it is disturbing everybody. Okay, thank you. The next. Challenges for the blended learning. We all knows that in each and every phase of the era, we just get the challenges. The following challenges may be relating to the blending learning. The learners may lose interest soon and increase cost of the operation also. Creation of the effective content or the online modules and lack of the instructional support also. Lack of the digitally enabled teachers. We know very well that many of the teachers are not able to handle the digital devices nowadays because it may be there are the something problem to just take an image, like if you want to uh, want to just create a PDF file, like if you want to just write something on a paper and you want to just take an image and want to convert it into the PDF, but all teachers are not able to just do it. So it is very important for a particular sessions for this, that how can we just create PDF or like that. It means the digitally literate person, digitally literate teacher should be very, very necessary in this type of the blended learning platform. Digital divide, we will just discuss about the digital device also, and proper uh, balancing of online and offline modes. So 5 ways to implement the blended learning are face-to-face driver, rotation, and the flex, labs, and online driver. So methodology is project presentation, flipped classroom, videos on topics, data, debates, self-paced assessment, peer assessment, teachers assessment, also the school bookmarking facilities, etc. Digital library should also be important for this blended learning. Unlike the traditional libraries, the digital library includes the resources like ebook, online games, reference materials, etc., which help the learners gain information. Also, there are pre-recorded audio-visual resources for the benefit of the students learning that the learners can gain access to 24 into 7 for the information. Thus, such digital libraries are a great source of the research-oriented resources accessible to the learners. The major advantages of digital libraries is that the user need not to go to the library physically. The learners may prefer reading on their own during the independent reading time. They choose their own set of the books based on their the individuals and reading level 2. It remains the interest and curiosity of the learners as reading is no more the challenging, and they can also write books reviews and share it on the digital platform. School bookmarking tools also very important, that the school bookmarking tools allows the user to share the favorite web pages with the others. Student can use these tools to share the content with each other that they find the relevant to a course of the assignment. Tagging and committing features of the tools and provide useful organizational and the discussional opportunities. Pocket, Google Keep, Flipboard, and Instapaper, like the Pinterest, and some of the examples. Thus, a variety of the resources can be explored on a particular topics. Web discussion also we can just arrange, like we are just discussing about the something like the blended learning. So there are some tools on web which help student elaborate the participate. These are the discussion tools which give the creative access to the student voice. Jigsaw Classroom also, you have just listen about the Jigsaw Classroom. This is the method of the teaching students by dividing them into the groups and the making each student responsible for the learning a segment of the topic that she will learn, and she will then explain to rest of the groups. What are the benefits of the blended learning? What are the benefits of the blended learning? So it is very important that also we should have the knowledge about the benefits of the blended learning. So ICT instructional operations are very important, and we will discuss more about it in the in ahead sessions. So the following are the advantages of the blending learning models. Blended learning leads to an enhanced learning outcomes for the students. Students can prepare their own digital content and prepare for the self-assessment. Increased use of the digital tools for the interaction amongst the student and between the student and teacher. Time can be saved and reserved for use in the discussing important issues and the topics during the teaching learning processes. Self-placed learning enhance the opportunity for the learning, motivates a student through the classroom and collaboration, and improve ability to personalized learning. What are the challenges? We have just discussed that most of the challenges, and uh, teachers and the blending learning can be just reformed here, that blended learning shift the teacher's role from the knowledge provider to the coach and as a mentor. This shift does not mean that the teachers play a passive or the less important role in the student education. Quite the contrary, with the blended learning, teachers can have an even more profound influence and effect on the students' learning. Blended learning provides an appropriate balance between the online instructions, which offers the interactive tech-based learning, and individualized pacing and privacy that keep students continuously engaged and motivated, and teacher-led instructions which are personalized the learning experiences and add the student elements of the encouragement, compassion, and caring guidance that only teachers can give. Thus, the blended learning is keeping the doors of the learning open, provided the technology and the online resources are used ethically and in a safe manner. So for this, ICT tools are the very important for the blended learning. ICT is just facing very influence way in this era. So blended learning is very important, but also without the ICT, we can't be imagining a blended learning for this. So ICT tool can be used in this learning mode. So various ICT tools and the uses through which the learning spaces can be made conductive, and the learning for the learners are the discussed to make the learners happens in an environment, and especially in today's pandemic times, blending of the resources like the ICT infrastructures can play a very vital significant role. So ICT infrastructure resources, what are? So information and the communication technology refers to ICT, refers to all the technology tools for the communication, including the internet and wireless network, smart gadgets, software, middleware, and video conferencing tools, social networking tools, and obviously the computer at the center spot, which will enable any user to access, retrieve, store, transmit information or the data in an electronic or the digital format. So the unpredictable and the changes that we have all the witnesses during the pandemic time have the forced us to adopt the online from the teaching learning. With the most of the world in the lockdown due to the pandemic, people are the working from the home and students are the learning from home in an online format. So parents are sharing the responsibilities along with the teachers and supporting their the children. Before we delve into the why the ICT in education is so important today, let's first understand the fundamental of the what is an ICT. So first of all, we will discuss what is ICT. So the term ICT specified means any technology that has to do with the information and communication. ICT components include the hardware like the computer, mobile phone, etc., software, networking components. The ICT term, the term of the ICT is sometimes used synonymously with the IT, information technology. However, ICT represent a broader list of the components related to the computer and digital technology as compared to IT. Today, information and the communication technology are the in thing, and so the respiratory of the technology expanded further to the encompasses computer and computer related products. So the ICT, what are the importance of the ICT? Okay, then today's we do not need to go any further than our own home or even room to see some form of the ICT in our lives, whether it be a computer. Like we are just on the platform to learn something about the blended learning. We are just using Zoom. The ICT also includes like this the platform. So we are discussing that the ICT in our lives, whether it be the computer, TV, or the mobile phones, in the today's society, people as the consumers of the ICT strive for one dream, the dream of the connected life, the dream of the connected life. So anytime, and e-learning on the online learning, the present of the ICT, sorry, the presence of the ICT in the education allows for new ways of learning for the students and teachers. E-learning on online learning is becoming increasingly popular. This does not only open opportunity for the school to ensure that the students have access to curriculum materials, wish list, and in the classroom, but also ensure its availability at home. ICT brings the inclusions, the student with the special needs. We all know well that the young children no longer at uh, disadvantages as they have the access to essential materials, and special ICT tools can be used by these students, is mean the special needs children for their own educational needs. The World Wide Web was the created and the design for the everyone can access it, and only if we are able to overcome certain challenges to make the digital inclusions a reality by the providing access to the ICT tools and resources for those who are the less fortunate. Efforts to enable more and more people on the other side of the digital divide to have access to the opportunity the ICT offers will create a conductive learning and environment at this the pandemic time. This means working on three most important aspects. First, access of the ICT and ensure a device for all at the affordable prices. The second, assistive technology which facilitate easy access to people with the disability. And the third, digital literacy include the basic knowledge about the ICT training. So ICT tool, there are the various ICT tools available and the resources available for the making online education fun-based, in interactive and competency-based. Few of them are discussed below, like situating tools, virtual classroom. This situation tools uh, situate learners in an environment where they may experience the learning context of the happening. These are the very interactive in the nature where the users feel that they are the situated in a real environment in the learning. For example, Google Classroom, virtual labs like the O Labs, etc. Constructive tools. These are used to manipulate information, construct their own knowledge, and visualize their the students' understanding. For example, Microsoft PowerPoint, MS Word. We are just using in this Microsoft PowerPoint. Also, in this session, we are just getting some pictures, some knowledge, some articles, some presentation due to Microsoft PowerPoint. It means the presentation software. The next, communicative tools. This allows easy communication between the students and teacher, or between the student outside the physical classroom. For example, email, video conferencing, video chats, electronic, whiteboard, etc. Spreadsheet also used for the sharing information amongst the students and teacher simultaneously. So the fourth one is informative and collaborative tools. These are the tools used for the meeting, discussion, and the information dissemination. And for example, internet meeting rooms, meeting sites, interactive electronic whiteboard, like we are just using whiteboard for the doing any kinds of calculation, for solving any problem in the Zoom meeting or Google Meet meeting, etc. Text message also can be sent like the chats, website like the Wikipedia, mobile phones, and GPR enables the palm tops that can link student in the different geographical location and allows learners to exchange information in synchronous and acronymous manner. Blogs are the created through the website application, like we have just found the Google Classroom link. We have just got the 5 days previous training with the help of the blog. Okay, so blogs are the created through the website applications. These are the collaborative and the communicative tools maintained by the individuals or the institutional that provide institutions and that provide the information are the perfect gateway to share the information, informal information. Podcasts are the very important. In this days, we have just using the earphones and getting knowledge about anything we have just discussed more and more. And before it, we have to just read the too much the thick books for it. And in this era, we have just listening like a song, podcast, maybe very able to just doing our work easy. The podcasts are the digital audio video made available the anonymous through the internet on the specific address, and this can be created and circulated among the learners and a specific learning outcomes also. So in the next session, we are just discussing more about the ICT tools, and ICT promotes the higher order thinking skill. The use of the information and the communication technology, ICT, and innovation are the vital in upgrading the key skill for the 21st centuries, which include the evaluating, planning, and monitoring, reflecting. ICT enables the subject learning also. It is the well known these days that the use of the ICT in education adds a lot of the values to the key learning areas like the literacy and numeracy. The availability of the rich learning resources online makes it a very attractive option to learn, and ICT allows teachers to produce and modify resources quickly and easily. It also access to a wide range of the information in various formats, computers, softwares, cameras, and a range of the ICT devices can also make the teaching more effective and more fun of the pupils. ICT use develops ICT literacy and ICT capabilities. Both are the 21st century skills are the best developed by the providing them with the meaningful activities embedded in the purposeful subjects related to the context, and ICT also use increases collaboration. ICT naturally brings the children together where they can talk, they can discuss what they are doing for their work, and in this turn opens up avenues for the communication, thus the leading to the language development. ICT facilitates a conductive and consecutive platform of the sharing learning in which the students are the responsible for one another's learning as well as who thus becoming the critical thinkers. ICT in the education improves the engagement and knowledge retention. The mildness and are the digital natives raised with the technology at the like the fingerprints. Therefore, use of the ICT enables the richer, more engaging learning environment and knowledge retention. Technology provides different opportunity to make it more fun and enjoyable in the term of the teaching the same thing in the different way, suiting individual and need, thereby the increases students' deep engagement. As consequences of this the increased engagement, they will be able to retain knowledge more effective and efficiently. So ICT use allows easy access and immediate information exchange. Like the ICT help to improve the teaching skill of the teacher and also the learning abilities of the teacher by providing access to variety of the educational resources available easily all around the globe using multimedia technology, thus making the process of the teaching and learning very effective. The blended learning, ICT enables blended learning to take place with the help of the various tools, both online and offline. It is the convenient for the child to learn both from the under the brick and mortar system and online tools. So online repository of the learning resources. What are the many kinds of the online repository? Like in these days, some of the example of the like this online repository of the learning resources, online repository represents online documents which are the able for the free. Like in these days, there are the many TV channels providing us many kinds of the whole day 24/7 class, whole day for 24, and NCERT, especially NCERT, thanks for the NCERT to providing such a beautiful platform to learn specific, spatial, and very valuable classes like this. In this educational sector, the initiative of the NCERT for providing portable document format PDFs like of the books and flip books can be example of the online repository of the learning resources. A few days ago, we have just got many kinds of the special related to the IT books, many kinds of the PDF books, portable digital files. Few initiative that the represent online repository of learning resources are discussed, like e-Pathshala. We have just listened much about the e-Pathshala. Also Vidya Bharati just using the e-Pathshala, but it's the other platform. This is Pathshala is belong to the NCERT, Government of India. It is an initiative of the MHRD under its National Mission of the Education. It has the innumerable e-content on the various disciplines which enables the learners to learn at his or her own place. Swam Prabha, you can just get many kinds of the lesson chapters discussion on the Swam Prabha channel. We have just also many teachers got DLED degree, which is just provided by the NIOS, National Institute of the Open Schooling, and many classes have been just organized on the Swam Prabha. So SWAM is also a channel. It is a free online education platform under the Ministry of the Education and Government of India, GOI, which provide the free courses to the learners, especially to the teaching fraternity, and these courses can be done in many regional languages, and easy credit facility is available too. Swamprabha, we have just discussed that through this, a learner can view high quality educational program on the TV and have access to view the content anytime. Okay, so the Ganga, it's a very good thing. The Sodh Ganga, it is an open platform where the research of the students can submit the thesis and synopsis, so that the several other can be the benefited. It means a person who just doing their research and just sharing the thesis or something on the Sodh Ganga, then other users, other student, higher education student can easily just take it and just get advantage from it. It can be just give the many kinds of the idea how to just what maybe the researcher have just found and what have you to be just found in future. So it is an open platform where more than the 3 lakhs these are the available from the over 400 universities. It is a perfect example of the online repository for the learning resources. So there are also many kinds of the limitations of the ICT. Okay, and disadvantages also. So the following are the few of the limitations of the ICT, like the concern over the security of the data when transmitted in the digital form is more prone to the attack like the hacking. Therefore, the concern over the security of the data always prevails. We have just discussed in the previous some sessions, ethics and IT security. So some kinds of the precautions may be just privileged in this, that moreover the threats of the virus attack too can be disrupt the entire system of the working. Setup cost, it means the initial cost of the setting of the required hardware for the smooth functioning of the ICT is very important. We can just take an example. We are just discussing this important class on a platform, the smartphone or the laptop, etc. If we have not the smartphone or the laptop, we can't just prepare the presentation, we can't understand like the so much smoothly, and also we need internet connection also, and for that we have to just pay something for it. So that's a very setup of the cost. It can be said that this is the some extent the disadvantage of the ICT, and the cost of the maintenance and the time to time repair of the instruments and the gadgets is also high. So unmonitored exposure to long screen time and various websites can harm students and pull them into the trap of the unethical practices. ICT capabilities are not evenly disturbed, thus the richer countries and individuals enjoy more access and advantages of the opportunities provided by the ICT. So according to a finding by the World Bank, more than 75% of the world's population has access to a cell phone whenever internet access remains expensive. This causes the discrepancy in access to ICT and creates the digital divide. This is known as the digital divide. It means those who have the digital device but don't have the facility to access more about it. So this is known as the digital divide. Those without the ICT capabilities are left out of the multiple opportunities and benefits that ICT creates. The United Nations Organization, UNO, considered providing the increased access to the ICT resources and affordable access to the internet in the least developed countries as one of its sustainable development goals. So now in the next session, we are just going to discuss about the flipped classroom. We have just we have just discussed in previous slides flipped classroom. So what do you understand by the flipped classroom? So flipped classroom are the most popular mode of the rotational model of the blending learning. A flipped classroom is the structure around the idea that students collect information before the class and free in the class time for the activities that involve high order thinking activities. It is the inverted teaching and learning and allows learners to study their own place, thus the giving freedom to the learners. And the main element of the conducive learning environment, we have just taken the 5 days training conducive learning environment. In this environment, the flipped classroom we have just discussed. So how to implement a flipped classroom? So how to implement? First of all, plan and decide which technology to use. First of all, we have to just plan for it, that how can we just use this technology. The second thing is pick your audio video platform and decide on a format. And the third, listen to the feedback from the student. It's a very important that listen the feedback from the student. And the fourth, create online or the digital content for the viewing by the student. The fifth thing is devise method to the verify that the student have the watch or the seen content. And the sixth, listen to feedback from the student also. Reflect and improvement. So how to develop the content for the use in the flipped classroom? So there are the certain method here the given. Decide about the ease group and the topic for the flipped lessons. In the forward slides, we have just some videos to just explore that what is given here. So look for the materials online and reuse what have been prepared by the other teachers. Open educational resources. Create materials using the infinite number of the applications for creating digital materials, knowledge and comprehension. It means the outside classroom. Outside classroom, it means the which you are just teaching, not from the only your questionnaire not should be only from the books also. Your questionnaire should be outside of the classroom. Okay, so you have to just make a good preparation for this. So checking for the understanding and applying inside the classroom, and knowledge constructions inside and outside from the classroom. So now you can see that benefit of the flipped classroom: learn at the own pace, and opportunity for the active learning during the class time. You know, absentees can catch up. Anybody student are just sitting at their home and can easily just access the class from our home. It means we can just do the work from the home. Meaningful learning activities, student centered model, learning autonomy, more efficient use of the class time, teachers content can be reused also. This is the very important thing. This is a very important thing. You know, and we are just discussing in this session about the many type of the topics. And if I have this slide and anybody want to just want to just prepare a slide about this technology for the blended learning also, maybe use this slide, or maybe improve his or her slide with the help of this slide. So teachers content can be used easily. Development of the higher order skill and varying learning preferences. Also the practical application of the knowledge during the class, one-to-one instruction, class student engagement and motivation benefiting the diverse learners. So we can just take many kinds of the help from the face-to-face blended learning and online, like the ETA Learning Factory and online wiki app, interactive workshop, presentation, missing practical applications, learning feedback model, and like that. So models of the blending learning, we know very well that models of the blending learning like that, you are just able to see it on your screen. And what can we just consider while they're using the flip classroom model? So identify where the flip classroom model make the most sense of your class. And next, make sure that the student complete the classwork and provide an incentive for the student to prepare for the class. Provide mechanism to the access to student understanding the device method for the student to prepare for the in-class activities. And we have just discussed more about the flipped classroom. So it was the technology based, all we can say that this is the totally technology based session, technology based classroom. So you can just see it, available resources, and challenges of the hybrid model also, and seamless integration, English stand, reading, writing, communication, multimedia literacy research, and best practices. What should be integrate the student connection and the understanding. Best practices in the learning environment: use the text dependent question, use the inference questions, use the text-based vocabularies, responses to the reading, writing components in every lesson, and frequent research components. Pair text and text set as, and text use what you have. It means the think about the student, what will interest them, and text might look the different these days. Consider what student can access at home. Make learning authentic by the working with the what students have, and provide opportunity for their shared and the independent reading, and many more. It means the integrating history and the social science, reading writing together, introduce varied text to show the student different writing style, and model the writing process, and meet with the student for the writing conferences. Use other content materials for the text and allow the student to demonstrate understanding through the writing, and integrate history social science. In the times of the great challenges, it can be easy to fall into old habits. Okay, so we can just teach each and every subject, like the English, history, math, science, each and every type of the subjects with the help of the technology based blended learning process. We can also integrate the history social science, and integrate the history social science also, integrate the history and social science in this way. And what works: synchronize activities like the engaging tasks to just spare off something about the small groups, like that. We have just discussed more about it, and create rich assessment task. So I think today's session is you are able to now recognize that what is the meaning of technology, why it is important, ICT for a blended learning. It means the technology for the blended learning, hybrid learning plans sample. We are just in this era, we are just using like the Google Classroom, Zoom class, etc., 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 many kinds of the things. Okay, so that's all for today. So if you have any kinds of the doubt, question you want to discuss, then you can just discuss with us. So it is now 4 minutes left, and you can just discuss about this class, that what do you just not able to understood, that what I told you and what I want to just make you understand. And if you have any kinds of the doubt, then you can ask. Check your chat box, you can just get attendance link also here. And now after some minutes, the attendance link will be open for 1:30 hours today. Okay, 1:30 hours, 1:30 तक जो है वो अटेंडेंस लिंक काम करेगा. आप सभी अटेंडेंस लिंक को अच्छे से भर लेंगे, और आप लोगों की जो ट्रेनिंग की व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बनाई गई है, उस ट्रेनिंग व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में भी अटेंडेंस लिंक भेज दिया जा रहा है. और आप सभी जो है अपने सीरियल नंबर को देख लेंगे. ठीक है, आप सभी आई थिंक जो है अभी आप लोग को मिल चुकी होगी. आप लोग अपना जो है व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप चेक कर सकते हैं. आप लोग को सीरियल नंबर जो है मिल चुका होगा, जिसमें आप आसानी से जो है चेक कर सकते हैं कि आपका सीरियल नंबर क्या है, और सीरियल नंबर के अकॉर्डिंग ही आपको वो फॉर्म भरना है. ठीक है, इस चीज का जो है विशेष ध्यान रखेंगे आप. सीरियल नंबर के अकॉर्डिंग ही आपको वो भरना है. ठीक है, सो any question, any doubt? Any question, any doubt?
सर सीरियल नंबर का कैसे पता चलेगा?
आप लोग के जो ग्रुप में आप लोग को ऐड किया गया है उस ग्रुप में आप देखिए अभी सीरियल नंबर भेजा गया है, ठीक है। आपकी जस्ट नाम के पहले सीरियल नंबर होगा, ठीक है।
जी।
यू कैन जस्ट चेक द ग्रुप, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप प्लीज। आप व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप चेक करें प्लीज।
जी आ गया है आचार्य जी।
आप सभी जो है व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप चेक कर सकते हैं और अभी जो है अटेंडेंस लिंक भी जो है जा रहा है ना। सभी जो है अटेंडेंस जो है फिल करेंगे और फिल करके जो है आप अपना जो है अटेंडेंस भर लेंगे।
मेरा है 0297 आपका 09 लिख देना।
अपना सीरियल नंबर ही डालेंगे, ठीक है ना, दूसरे का सीरियल नंबर नहीं यूज करेंगे।
हर दिन का अलग अलग तो नहीं होगा। मतलब हर दिन का अलग अलग थोड़ी सीरियल नंबर होगा, एक ही ना बना नहीं जाएगा जब तक
प्रतिदिन का अलग अलग सीरियल नंबर रहेगा, प्रतिदिन नहीं प्रत्येक सेशन का अलग अलग सीरियल नंबर रहेगा, ठीक है। क्योंकि ये जो सीरियल नंबर है ये सीरियल नंबर आपके सर्टिफिकेट पे आएगा, ठीक है। तो फर्स्ट डे जो आपने ट्रेनिंग किया था वो सीरियल नंबर और ये सीरियल नंबर दोनों डिफरेंट होगा, यानी जितने भी सर्टिफिकेट आपको इशू होते जाएंगे तो जिस सेशन में आप अटेंड करेंगे उस सीरियल नंबर को आपको वो सीरियल नंबर आपको दिखाई पड़ेगा, ठीक है
जी।
तो आप सभी अटेंडेंस को जो है भर लीजिए। अभी कोई अगर प्रॉब्लम हो तो वो प्रॉब्लम भी आप पूछ सकते हैं मुझसे, अगर अटेंडेंस शीट भरने में कोई परेशानी अगर हो रही हो तो।
अटेंडेंस लिंक भी आ गया है 2980। यही ना हाँ यही हो जाएगा। आप टैब की थी हम यहाँ से बंद नहीं किए हैं अभी।
रवि जी और हम लोग कुछ करना है?
केवल अटेंडेंस जो है मार्क करना है, दैट्स इट। आप लोग अपना ये सेशन, अगर कोई प्रश्न नहीं है आप लोगों की तो आप लोग सेशन को लीव कर सकते हैं और 1:30 पे नेक्स्ट सेशन होगी जो कि माननीय प्रधानाचार्य ज्ञानेश्वर श्रीवास्तव जी के द्वारा लिया जाएगा, तो उसे आप लोग ज्वाइन करें। धन्यवाद।
अभी ऐसी करना है हम लोग को, मैंने अटेंडेंस फिल करना है।
जी, अटेंडेंस फिल करना है, ठीक है।
रवि जी,
जी बोलिए।
एसटीएनसी के नाते कुछ नहीं ना उसमें करना है हमको?
नहीं, कुछ नहीं करना है, नथिंग।
ठीक।
रवि जी,
जी बोला जा सर।
ईमेल आईडी कौन सा डालना है?
ईमेल आईडी सीबीएसई वाली।
रवि जी,
जी बोलिए सर।
सबमिट तो कर दिया,
हाँ सबमिट कर दिए, ठीक है।
और डाउनलोड कहाँ से होगा?
सर्टिफिकेट आपको उसी ईमेल पे, जिस ईमेल आईडी को उसमें आपने डाला है, उसी आईडी पे।
सर अटेंडेंस जो होगा वो कैसे में नहीं होगा, इसमें लिंक है का?
ईमेल पर आ जाएगा।
हैं?
अटेंडेंस की लिंक जो है व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में भेजी गई है,
अच्छा, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में भेजा गया है।
और अभी चैट बॉक्स में भी मैं भेजा हूँ।
अच्छा,
रवि जी, तो उसी ईमेल पर आएगा?
हाँ उसी मेल पे।
उसी से डाउनलोड कर लिया जाएगा ना?
जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
और फिर सेकंड सेशन में अलग सीरियल नंबर होगा?
जी सेकंड सेशन में अलग से होगा,
चलिए,
वो भी ग्रुप में जाएगा।
ओके, थैंक्स।
रवि जी,
जी बोलिए सर।
बोल रहे हैं कि हमने तो अटेंडेंस बना दिया, लेकिन ईमेल अपना डाले हैं।
हाँ ठीक है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। जो ईमेल आईडी आप डालेंगे, जिस ईमेल आईडी को वहां पे डाला गया है, ठीक है ना, वो ईमेल आईडी पे ही आपका जो है जाएगा, ठीक है ना। आपका जो सर्टिफिकेट है वो जाएगा। जो भी ईमेल आईडी वहां डाला गया है, मेनली है सर्टिफिकेट आपको किस प्रकार से प्राप्त होता है, वो सर्टिफिकेट जो है प्राप्त करने का एक माध्यम। तो वो सर्टिफिकेट आपको चला जाए, आपके जिस भी ईमेल आईडी को आप डालिएगा उस पे चला जाएगा, ठीक है।
लीव कर सकते हैं?
जी बिल्कुल लीव कर सकते हैं। तो सभी को नमस्कार, ठीक है।
नमस्कार,
धन्यवाद।
नमस्कार।